Thank you for joining us again. I don't know how much longer I'll do this today. I'm not feeling 100%, but I'm going to give it my best shot. If last week I think I only got 30 minutes of it in, so if it starts to go out, someone text me, call me, do something, let me know. I appreciate that. But I'm going to, again, give it my best shot.
Won't be long.
Yeah, it won't be long, and I'm not feeling 100% the greatest today, but it's all good. Last week we talked a little bit about, first of all, I like starting this off with my favorite phrase for the year is what the Bible is about. And so for some of you out there that may have a hard time understanding your Bible, reading your Bible, studying your Bible, you've got to understand this book is not about a religion. This book is about a king. And you've got to understand that. It's about a king, a kingdom, and his kids. So I always say, and I'll repeat it probably a bunch of times over and over, that if you never served under a king, you probably have no clue. And it's not to say that what some people are saying and doing is not correct. Some of it is, some of it is not. But the whole essence of it is what the Bible is about. And we get off base when we start trying to make it about religion. Or we get off base when we try to tie in other rules and regulations that he had nothing to say about or do about. That's when we get off base, because kings are not interested in those things. And you can see it in the word, you can see it in their what the Bible is trying to say to us. Mm-hmm. So, and we covered this once with my Louisiana group, and I'll probably hear it again today because we went over this extensively. So some people that listen have actually grew up in countries where there was a king. We're not talking about corrupt kings. We're not talking about corrupt earthly kings, rather. We're talking about even that type of government is a prototype of the kingdom of God. And when there was an earthly kingdom in place that resembled the heavenly kingdom, that's when God came to the earth in the form of Jesus Christ. And that's in Galatians. When the fullness of time would come, Paul wrote. And if you look at that scripture and do the research on it, it is actually saying when there was a kingdom that was in place, when you do the history of it, when there's a kingdom that in place that represented what God was about to show us, that's when he came. And that's when he sent his son. And that kingdom was the Roman government, the Roman Empire. And what they were doing was a prototype. And one thing I've learned as I keep studying in life, God will never, ever violate your will to choose. Try and get your attention? Yes. But violate your will to choose? No. And that's two different things. And we'll hear people say, you know, God done that because he was trying to get your attention. That may be a fact. Mm-hmm. But you do not have to respond. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well. Oh. So he will do a lot to get your attention. Matter of fact, we know that even with Moses. Mm-hmm. He was trying to get Moses' attention through the burning bush.
Right.
But I also say Moses didn't have to respond. He could have kept on going and kept on doing what it is he was doing. He did not have to respond to God's trying to get his attention. Mm-hmm. And I'm just, as in my life, I realize he touches the things you love the most when he's trying to, for me, mm-hmm. Are the things that are very close and dear to you. And with that being said, I'd love to start it out that way because it gives me, before I get into what we're about to talk about. Because last week we talked about the royal kingdom principles of giving. And I was looking at that word principles, which is rules and laws. There are rules to giving and why he wants you to give.
Right.
There is, you never appear before a king. You heard me say that, empty-handed. And in Matthew 2:1, when they heard that Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea during the time of King Herod, these magi came from Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews?" And that statement alone tells you kings are born. And we can understand it in the natural when we're looking at countries who have kings. That child that is born into that bloodline is automatically in line for kingship. Just that simple. You don't get to vote. He is automatically in line for kingship. And when the proper ones are gone off the scene, or however they deal with that from that angle, that person becomes king. You and I, if we're not in royal bloodline, we can't become, well, I'm talking about earthly king, we can't become kings in those kingdoms. American government cannot be ran that way. It's kind of even troubling to see that our government now has so many family folks in place, because this is not about your family. The American government is legislative, president, and judicial. And with those three in place, they were put in place for checks and balances because they didn't trust the king. They no longer wanted one person to have absolute authority. You're probably going to struggle with that when you come into saying Jesus is you're a Christian, because Jesus has absolute authority. Your opinion doesn't matter. I hope people didn't start dropping off, because if you grew up in a democracy, if you grew up in a republic like I have and you have, you struggle with someone having absolute authority. You struggle with someone's word being absolute. What he says goes, and what you have to say doesn't matter. We're not used to that. We love to make our voices count, as we say, and we do it through voting. That's just the country, or that's the type of government that we grew up in. So with those royal principles of giving, one of them was the power of a king is displayed in their wealth. The wealthier the king, the more of the perception that he's strong. The purpose for the king wealth is to secure his reputation. Remember, it is never about you. The glory of the king is his power to outgive another king. And there are some distinctions about this kingdom that's different from earthly kingdoms that we know. He's willing to share his power with you. So if I were going to share my power with you, I was going to make sure you have my interests at heart. I'm sorry. Number 4 in the principles of giving is giving places a man on the king's wealth. And 5, giving requires a response from the king. And I think that was number 5. Number 6, giving to a king attracts his wealth to the giver. Now today I wanted to look at some reasons why we should give to a king. Royal protocol requires that a gift must be presented when visiting a king. Royal protocol, and we looked that word up, rules. Our job have protocols, things that we think should be done. Royal protocol requires that a gift must be presented when visiting. And we know that story when Queen Sheba visited Solomon. She brought him gifts. When they came looking for Jesus in Matthew 2:1, they brought him gifts. They worshiped him and they gave him gifts. Why? They were visiting a king. Yeah, but he was just a baby. He was still a king. So that's just royal protocol. And in Exodus 34:21, God told Moses to tell the people, none shall appear before me empty-handed. And that principle haven't applied today. That principle still applies today. When you approach King Jesus, as you go into church to talk about, you ought to bring a protocol. You should bring him something. We should always approach the king with a gift of some kind. A tithe, 10% of our income, praise, thanksgiving, worship. Just not empty-handed. Just not empty-handed. You cannot appear. That's probably why you can't get him to move for you. You're appearing empty-handed.
Ooh, glory to God. Thank you.
You got to bring him something.
Got to bring him something.
Good Lord. You have to bring him something. But you know what he really wants? He wants you. Our heart, our life, freely and completely. I like the word freely. There's nothing like getting someone to do something and they're not doing it freely. Your heart's not in it when you're not doing it freely. He wants your heart in it. Freely. Heart and life. And I know women understand it more than men do, because women want a man that want to be with them freely. She's not forcing you or feel like she has to force you to spend time with her. That means you don't make, even if you wanted to be there, you're not acting like it. Because you're not there freely. Where's your heart? You spend most of your life somewhere else. Other things become more important. No, that's not. That person don't have your heart in your life. Freely, completely, heart and life is what he wants. Number 2, the gift must be fitting for the king. And that's very important. Worse than approaching a king with no gift is to bring a gift unworthy of him. Inappropriate and inadequate gifts amounts to an insult. And this is prefigured when we see, even in the laws, the prototype of before Christ came, he was warning the people, don't just bring any kind of sacrifice. Lambs with all kinds of diseases. So you don't properly respect that person when you just do anything. That's why Jesus was known as the perfect lamb. Not just a lamb, but the perfect lamb. No blemishes, no flawed, spotless, nothing about him. Nothing about him was flawed. That's what God wanted. So you have to. It shows how much you value someone. Again, when I talked this once before, nobody wants a bad gift. I know I don't. Bring me a gift that you yourself don't want, but you wrapped it up and gave it to me. No. And the children of Israel at one time, they were bringing, you read the story, they were bringing all, the lambs were one eye, had all kinds of stuff wrong with those lambs and sheep and stuff when they were presenting them to God. And God had to let them know, no, you don't value me. But it was leading up to a prefigure, rather, of the sacrifice of Christ. So he wanted lambs without blemish. He wanted lambs without spots. He wanted lambs that were unflawed. Unlike me, I found out that there are fruit that's flawed. If you can Google it, and they'll sell it to you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's flawed. It's crooked. The peach, it's not up to, even America has standards of what they say a peach should look like before it hits the market. But there's nothing wrong with the peach that's on the ground, that's crooked and leaning over like a Lord knows what. But when you're going to give a gift, especially to God, he wants your best.
Yes.
We talked about this with the Louisiana group, and we really understood this, that you should never give a king a gift that didn't cost you anything. David was trying to stop a plague in the land caused by his own disobedience to God. After he had built an altar he made sacrifice, God responded to his prayers and stopped the plague. Because you ought to give a gift. And as Pastor Crosby said, it adds value when it costs you something. Value is stuck to it. When it costs you something. It didn't cost you nothing, and you want to offer it to God. No, he's not going to respond to that. I'm trying to help you understand the king. Give a gift to the king that is worthy of him, not worthy of you, not what you think he ought to accept, but give him something that is worthy of him. Mm-hmm. Don't offer anything or something that costs you nothing. Mm-hmm. The gift then reveals our value or worship of the king. How much is he worth to you? The quality of what we offer the king and the attitude with which we offer it reveals much more than our words do of value or worthiness we attach to him. Quality does not mean expensive. In America, quality means expensive. Mm-hmm. That's not what he's talking about. You got to get that mindset. He's not talking about expensive or fancy necessarily, but it means offering your very best.
Right. What you willing to give up?
What are you willing? But your best. Your best. Remember the widow's mite? Mm-hmm. She gave more than all of because she gave all she had. Give him your best. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you ought to do that because it reveals your value of his worship to you. Mm-hmm. Not worship, but his worship. How much is he worth to you? Again, when I hung around my mother-in-law and Kara, that's one thing I learned about them early. I didn't even know them when I started. They were always going to give you their best. They might not have been able to give you the best, but they were going to give you their best. Mm-hmm. And I will say this. That's what I noticed about them all the years that I've hung around with them. You were going to get their best. And it almost felt like they were embarrassed to give you anything less than what they were for. That's just what I noticed. And that's not that's just a fact. And I would watch and I would watch. They would do things for people when other people half-heartedly done things. They were going to really do their best. And I used to say, wow, that's amazing. When they buy you clothes, it was going to be
the best.
The best, yeah. It was good. I was like, wow. I'd never been around people too much like this that gave their best when they tried to give you something. Hallelujah. So to me, they put a value on the person to whom they were giving it to. See, that's the connection there now. That when you look, they put a value on that person. This person is worth something to me. So they will give their best. Our gifts does not necessarily have to be monetary value. Of much value to the king is the gift of a heart. Remember we talked about heart, life. That's what he wants. He wants your heart. He wants your life. He wants you. First of all, a much greater value to the king is a heart that seeks first his kingdom and his righteousness. Mm-hmm. And I'm already on this one. The Lord said, this is Isaiah 29:13. Again, our Louisiana group went over this. We really covered this very well. The Lord said to Isaiah to tell the people, they draw near me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me. Their worship, rather, of me is made up of only rules taught by men. Let me read out Amplified. And the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but remove their heart and minds far from me, and their fear and reverence for me are a commandment of men that is learned by repetition without any thought. That's what repetition is. I was telling my wife, anything can be learned through repetition. Your job. You learn it by repetition. You don't even think about it no more. You just do it. Why? Repetition. And, thought put into it as to the meaning. You remember repetition? People cook by repetition. Mama, why you cut the end of that ham off? Repetition. She don't even think about it no. If she thought about it, her mama may not have had a pot. When they found out why the mom was cutting the end off, because she didn't have a pot big enough, so she had to cut. So you didn't give thought. Was no more thought put in. You just doing what everybody else is doing. Just doing commandments taught by men. You're not even stopping to think about why they doing that. They may not have to do that no more. We may have a pot big enough you can cook the whole ham. And 3 more people can eat. So that's what he wants. He wants our hearts. And hearts give you thought when nobody else is thinking the way to love him. Nobody else thought that this might what he want. You did because you did it not because of the commandments of men, repetition, but you thought about what you were doing. These are what we're talking about, the reasons to give. Worship demands a gift, and giving is worship. Worship demands a gift, and giving is worship. You cannot worship God without giving him a gift. It's just that simple. I know. This is stuff we don't think about, but it's absolute truth. To worship the king means to ascribe worth or worthiness to him. And as we've already seen, it involved bringing him a gift. Mm-hmm. There is no genuine worship without gift giving. So if you went to church today and said you worship God and you didn't give nothing, let me read that again. There is no genuine worship without gift giving. Mm-hmm. You may have gone to church or may have done whatever, but you didn't give nothing. You didn't worship God. Not the king anyway. So this is just stuff we have to learn. And we have to, in America, we have to be taught that you're not dealing with a republic. You are dealing with a king. Mm-hmm. Matthew 2:11, that same chapter, Matthew, when the Magi came to worship him. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshiped him. What happened next? Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold and incense and myrrh. There is no genuine worship without gift giving. I don't like that. Okay. I'm with you.
Well,
he didn't say you had to like it.
Amen.
I'm just telling you what it is. I don't like it either. I would love to worship God without giving him something. But I now know that there is. I'm going to read it out and amplify. And on going into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down, worship him. After they worship him, then opening their treasure bags, not bag, but bags, B-A-G-S.
Plural.
Yes, they had, so they brought some stuff. Mm. They presented to him not a gift, but gifts, G-I-F-T-S, gold and frankincense and myrrh. Listen up, watch verse 12. If you want some answers, and receiving an answer to their asking, they were divinely instructed. You cannot worship God without giving him something. You're going to have to give him something. That's just the way it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the way it is. Worship demands a gift. But it may be a gift of praise, a gift of thanksgiving.
Hey, hallelujah. Thank you.
A gift of confession, a gift of surrender, a gift of forgiveness, or a gift of a tender and obedient heart, as well as a monetary gift. Because you can give a monetary gift and your heart still not be right. That's what Paul talked about when he talked about real love. Mm-hmm. So he's not, that's why he wants you. Yeah. That's why he wants your heart. Mm-hmm. He wants your life. Mm-hmm. Not just your monetary stuff. Because giving monetary don't make you right. If it is, rich people would have us beat.
Yeah.
You would be totally outnumbered. You would be, you couldn't, it would be like American politics. I know we're not going to get very much from them because we don't have much to give them.
No.
I can't give $1 million to a campaign. And I'm telling you, if I give you $1 million, you lying. If I sit here and try to convince you I don't want something, you know I want something. I don't want nothing. I just want to give you $1 million. If it is, that's a rare thing and a rare person.
You want something?
Yeah, I want something. Worship demands a gift. I hope you got that today. To worship a king and not give a gift after that was not true worship. Giving to a king attracts, these are, what we're talking about, these are reasons why you should give. Mm-hmm. Giving to a king attracts his favor. Kings are attracted to people who give with a willing and grateful spirit. Why? Especially this king, because he is a giver. He is a giver. First, he gave Adam the earth. Adam loses it. Second, he gives his son to get it back. So not just his son, but his only son. And most people have 5 or 6 children, and they don't want to lose not a one. He gave his only.
Only child, only son.
Only begotten of, he gave his only son. He is a giver. So he's attracted to people like himself. Like anyone else, a king likes to know he is loved and appreciated. I don't know about you, but I like to know that I'm loved and appreciated. I've been married to my wife, going 23 years this year. She likes to know that she's loved and appreciated. And sometimes, come her birthday, when she done made everybody else's birthday special, and come her birthday, she wanted to be known, do you really love me and appreciate me like I love you and appreciate you? Everybody, hint, hint, mine's coming this week. And I get to start today saying what I want to eat all the way to my birthday. And I really feel bad that I can't cook as much, but whatever she tells me she won't. Come her birthday in October, I'll try and get it, because giving begets giving. It's reciprocity, I think is the word. Giving begets giving. Well, she shouldn't give it to you and want something too. No, I give God something, I want something.
You want something?
Hey, you don't come here with that old false humility now. Yeah, well.
Scratch his back, you scratch mine.
I want to know that I'm loved and appreciated. The King of Heaven is no different. He's the same way.
He said he'll do it, though.
Yeah, and he said it.
Woo, hallelujah. He said he'll do it.
He said he would do it, and I'm going to hold him to it.
Do it. That's right.
I'm going to hold him to it. Gifts open the door to blessings. Let's read Proverbs 18:16. I don't think I ever read that. Let's read it and see if I can find Proverbs. I ain't been there so long.
All right.
Proverbs 18:16. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Gifts open doors. Those who know the protocol of giving to the king gain access to the throne room. And those who do not remain standing. Remember when we talked about David had done something? I said this when we were teaching the group a couple weeks ago. Sometimes there's some things you need God to break from you. For you.
Woo! Yes, God. Yeah. My son did it go shake it.
You're going to have to give a gift that costs you something. You're going to have to give a gift that will cost you something so that you can get into the presence of God and get that thing taken care of. And David gave you an example of that in 2 Samuel 24 and 24. But the king replied to Anar, however you want to call it, no, I insist on paying you for it. I will not sacrifice to the Lord, my God, burnt offerings that cost me nothing. So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen, and paid 50 shekels of silver for them. The reason why this story takes place is David was trying to stop a plague. We talked about that when I started. He was trying to stop a plague that was caused by his disobedience. Sometimes we're trying to get stuff stopped and we didn't get it started. That's not the point. When you take responsibility, you don't worry about who got it started. You want it stopped. I know I want stuff stopped in my family. I don't want disease going through my family. I don't want to. It's like now, what the teenage children are saying. They don't want it normalized that being shot in school is okay.
Yeah.
And I agree with them. It didn't happen so much. They're like, oh, another shooting. Yeah. No.
Epidemic.
It's not. That's not normalized. This. I don't want it normalized that I have to accept cancer and all of this stuff. Maybe you may not know what to do, or maybe you don't even want to know what to do. Just accept it and let them go. Especially young people in your family. No. My mother died at 56, and I declared I wasn't just going to sit back and let it just happen, and I don't find out what we can do about it. And I'm calling myself the church, telling everybody how much power we have. And I don't blame. I was conversing with a lady on Facebook, and she said, I'm not going to let the church trick me no more into what God can do. I don't blame her for that statement. All I can say to her, ma'am, I absolutely agree with you, because mostly all we do is talk. We can't bag up much of that we're talking about. Oh, boy. Giving from a generous heart with no thoughts or expectation. There again, expectations of return particularly attracts the king favor, because that is the attitude closest to his own. He rewards that kind of spirit. No thought, brother, or expectation is what attracts the king's favor to us. Anyone who gives, I never really understood this, but I do now. Anyone who gives a prophet, anyone who receives a prophet because he is a prophet, will receive a prophet's reward. What is that talking about? Anyone who receives a righteous, this scripture, been reading this for years. To receive a prophet or a righteous man means to care for and supply that person with no expectation of repayment.
That's what you were talking about, Mom and I did.
Yeah.
You came in as a prophet.
Yeah.
And we treated you as a prophet.
No expectation.
Showered you like a king. And
no expectation. It was amazing. I look back on that now and I go, that's why he has sustained them and blessed them. I sure couldn't repay him.
No, you couldn't.
No, I couldn't repay him.
No, you didn't.
I couldn't. I'm not telling you what God loved. I could not repay them. We weren't even going to try to fool them like I could pay. I'm going to pay y'all back. I didn't have it. But that's what that's talking about. There was no expectations of me to return the repayment. Given with no ulterior motive. No strings attached. And because of that, I saw that. Yeah. Matter of fact, I didn't see it. My buddy, Prophet Dorney Dupas, wherever you may be, saw it. He was watching it. And he said, man, this will make you a great family. Not the long-haired, voluptuous, beautiful, set person. Not what everybody thought you shouldn't marry. But he said, these people, you can marry anybody you want to. But these people, I could not see then what I see now. And there was someone in my life was saying to me, these are the kind of people you need around you. Right. No expectation of repayment. No ulterior motive. This is the kind of giving that attracts the favor of the king. And I imparted unto them spiritual things while they took care of my natural side. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what. So there was even trade. I brought something to the table. Lord, help me when people get involved with people who don't bring nothing to the table. It is amazing how women will get involved, or men will get involved with people that bring absolutely. Excuse me. If you're gonna deal with me, you got to bring something to the table.
If that person don't, and you do it, it's draining.
It is going. If you're feeling drained in your relationship today, I will promise you are doing all of the giving, and that person is doing all of the receiving. He or she ought to have something to offer. Please consider if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling drained, you feel like you're doing all the way because you are involved with a person that's not bringing anything to the table. That's how simple it is. And at some point, you're going to have to wake up and make a decision because they're not going to change. God's not waiting on them to change. He's waiting on you to change. Because nobody ought to come to the table with nothing. I might well finish this.
Come on now. You feeling good.
How do you let that happen? How do you allow that to happen? They don't have to bring nothing to the table. Serious? And my little, well, now he's 5, my grandson. Are you serious? No, come on now. I brought something to the table. I just couldn't bring monetary stuff. Because I left Louisiana, and all the money I had went on Kara's finger. Show him, honey. There it is. Every dime I had. Well, half of it. California took the other half, and I was broke. But I still had what I had to bring to the table. And it's taken a while to realize that I had something to offer. Giving to a king, acknowledge his ownership of everything. Remember, in a kingdom, you can't what? You can't own anything. You can't own a thing. Jesus is my king. You just told me you don't own nothing. God is my king. Then you just told me you don't own nothing. So you can go ahead and give it away. So giving to a king is simply returning to him what it already is. Why do I have to do that? How much sense does that make? Because that's what he wants. Because giving then opens the door so he can give you even more. Because he said, if you demonstrate the ability to prove that you can handle stuff, I'll give you more to do. That's what it does. Don't you want more to do? Or you like most people? That's all I want. I don't want to do no more. That is why in the kingdom of heaven, we are always stewards and never owners. This truth is embodied in the Bible principles of first fruits and tithes, if you really want to understand that. The same was to be done with the firstborn of the animals, the sheep, the goat, all of that. They didn't own it. God said, that firstborn belongs to me. Why? I'm your God. I'm your king. I own it. Bring it here. That just don't make no sense. I agree. I'll never tell you it made sense. But that's what he's the king. That's what he wants. The purpose of recognizing God's ownership, his lordship of everything, and his benevolence and love, and allowing them to use and prosper from his resources. There's your answer. He owns it, but he wants you to use it and to prosper by it. Prosper means to go forth, acquire more. Because the wealthier you are, the wealthier he is. Because why? You don't own it. That same principle applies today, even in the 21st generation. And at least in the spirit of acknowledging God's ownership, kingdom citizens should still give tithes regularly as an act of faith and worship, and recognizing not only God's ownership, but also his daily provisions for our needs as well as abundant blessings. Giving to a king is thanksgiving.
Real Thanksgiving.
Real Thanksgiving. Matter of fact, if you turn Thanksgiving around, you're going to get the word giving thanks. Because he is allowing you, you're giving thanks because he is allowing you to use his stuff for your daily needs and abundant blessings. One of the best ways to express gratitude is with a gift. We covered that too. Always give a gift. Thanksgiving. Turn it around. Giving thanks. Giving gratitude. I always say this. If you don't own nothing in the kingdom and you're breathing, you ought to thank the king for his air. Thank the king for good health. Thank the king for water, for shoes, for socks, for spoons, butter that you like to put on your toast. You ought to give him thanks for it because he's allowing you to use his resources and you're benefiting from it. That's why you give thanks. That's why you say thank you. And sometimes it's hard for some people to say, thank you. Thank you. You didn't have to do that for me. Thank you. Everyone likes to know that they are appreciated. And when someone is giving you something to provide for your needs and they own it, don't have to share it with you, thank you. I work on my job. There's no such thing as Rehab 8 month in February. But our co-workers got together for Peter and I, who are the rehab aides there, and created it. I'm so grateful and thankful to work with people like this. That
Beautiful.
It shows, I don't know about what anyone else, it makes me, even if they don't, fool me good like that because it makes me feel appreciated.
Yeah. Amen.
And for the same, when they give to me, no strings attached, then it makes me want to give back. See, that's what giving, reciprocity, I think that word. It makes me want to find ways that I can outgive them. So someone asked when I took over, why in April do you go get on a bicycle and drive and bike a mile or so to go get them chicken or Popeye's chicken? Because I want to show now my gratitude. For you doing something for me, I want to say thank you, and this I want to give you a gift back. Because a king will never let you outgive him.
And that's what you did. Thank you, Jesus.
And that's my way of saying thank you. They do that for Peter and I. No strings attached. They can. I don't care if they're connected to Mardi Gras. I don't care if they're connected to whatever is going on. They don't even have to think of us that way. So when people, just the thought that you were thinking, I think that's what women like. The very thought that you were thinking of me to bring me a flower, to bring me a poem, to bring me to find out what I really want.
Chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk. I cut back on a lot of stuff because my wife had died. But if she wanted it again, I'm in for it. Because I'm always thinking about her. Always wanting to show her how much I appreciate what she does for this family. Taking care of the children. One of the things that I really have to work on is she's been with an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And that's children talk all day. What do you think she want when I come home? To talk to what? An adult. She need an adult conversation. And she's working up at the school. Few adults up there, but most of them are kids.
Sweet kids.
So, when I read this book, The 5 Love Languages, it helped me to understand what some women like. Some of them just want your undivided attention. One of the best things we do is just lie down and watch a movie together. Could be the worst movie. Who wants to watch Bill Maher? But we just lie and watch Bill Maher. Lie down in the bed and watch Bill Maher. Favorite thing to do. It ain't about Bill Maher. It's about time together. Uninterrupted. Turn the phone off. Make sure nobody can get in touch with you. Because that's our time. Look forward to it on Friday night. Saturday mornings, we got another thing that I told her. It's my time on Saturday morning. To just get up and go for a 45-minute walk. Now she done added 15 minutes. That's my time. Now she loves the Bill Maher thing. I love my walks on Saturday morning, and I get mad. I got mad with her one time. She left me.
I want Emmy to go.
Yeah, because she didn't want my 6-year-old to go. But I don't care about no 6-year-old. That's my time. I done claimed my time of her walking for her exercise. But I like that with her. It makes me feel like I appreciate her. I hope she feel I appreciate her. She appreciate me. Reciprocity. We give. And we give back. Thank you for joining us. And today is my birthday.
No, it ain't.
Well, yes it is. My birthday week started the 23rd, Friday. And I selected today chicken and biscuits. Make that fried chicken, please, and biscuits. I'm going to eat as many as I can, feeling bad as I feel. I'm going to eat as many biscuits and pieces of fried chicken as I can. Thank you. Have a blessed day.
So sick.
Bye-bye.